For those of you who are giving the massage, you're welcome to bring a blanket or towel just as a little bit of padding under the knees as we come to sit right at the top of our partner's head. And we'll get ready to begin finding an occipital hold. So before you do anything with your partner, if you are giving, bring your fingers to the very top of your spine, going right up to where your spine meets that part of the skull. And you're going to feel this little divot right where the spine disappears into the skull. So that's your occiput. And you can feel that little divot as your fingers press in. Maybe give yourself just a light press, pulling the head up so you get that sensation of lengthening, tractioning, and it should feel really nice. Once you have that just imprinted in your own hands, feeling it in the back of your head, we're going to help that on your partner's. So you can bring your fingers to the back of your partner's neck, taking a little scooping motion with the tips of your forefingers, drawing all the way up the spine, trying to find that divot where the spine and the skull connects. And there you find that occipital ridge. So if you've found that spot and your fingers hook in, you can just hold right there, ever so slightly, pulling back to give a sensation of lengthening out between the spine and the skull. Allowing for that lengthening. It should feel really relaxing. And if you are lying down, again, you don't have to do anything with this other than let your head remain heavy. Do not worry about your partner here. Your partner's got you. And if you are giving this assisted stretch, you might find it feels intuitive to really wrap your full palm around the rest of their head. Keeping that nice firm grip in the occiput, you can keep that pull as you just allow the rest of your palm to hold the weight of your partner's head. And there's not really much you need to do other than just provide that space, that traction. Allowing this to be a really mindful, peaceful hold for a few breaths. And this is a nice way to transition into some circles with the fingers, ever so gently letting your partner's head come back to the ground if it was lifted. Very slow circles with the fingers. And you want to make sure you have enough pressure with the fingers that we're not simply moving around the hair. You really want to feel like you're pressing into the skin and the muscles under the skin. Little bit of movement right here. If your partner happens to have a ponytail or bun or any kind of hair that's pretty tightly packed in, you might ask permission to loosen that just so there's a little bit of movement. I'm going to do another reminder to keep these circles slow. We sort of go on autopilot with this, maybe thinking we're shampooing the hair, and that's not quite the movement. We're really, really slowing down, even slower than what you might think is slow. So for those receiving, the slower, the better this will feel. And for those of you doing these circles, there's really no prescribed route. But you might find very naturally your hand will travel across the skull, maybe sweeping from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head, from the sides up to the top, and really take your time with this. If you feel like you've already traveled a lot of ground, you can go back and recover some of the areas you haven't explored yet, or maybe just retrace your steps, coming around backs of the ears, slight lift of the head, getting that part of the skull wherever it's resting on the ground. And we'll take a few more breaths just to allow whatever finger circles you are doing to start to travel up again. Starting to make your way towards the forehead. No rush. And this can transition into some nice face massage, placing hands right at the top of the head, your thumbs right at that middle of the forehead. Press the full extent of the thumbs into your partner's forehead, starting from the middle and slowly sweeping out. Again, slow is so wonderful here. Nice firm pressure, targeting muscles that lie under the skin. We have so many facial muscles here. So you could almost imagine with your thumbs on the forehead, just smoothing out any worry lines, whether they're real or imagined. Just allowing this to be really, really relaxing. Adding on, you can take your middle and index finger together on both sides. And we're going to target the masseter. It's this muscle right where your partner's sideburns would be if they have them. A little downward motion. So this muscle is involved in moving the jaw up and down for the talking and the chewing and everything else we do with our mouth. It wants to clench, especially when it's stressed. So this downwards motion, really nice and relaxing. A muscle we might not think about in our body all that often. So this right here just allows the jaw to release. And sometimes it can create just a little bit of salivation. So if you're receiving and you feel the urge to swallow, that's totally normal. Moving on to the chin, you can bring the index fingers, thumbs, maybe even your middle fingers, just create a little cup at the base of the chin and tracing the jawline from center of the chin all the way to where the jaw disappears at the base of the ears. Very slow movement, just releasing all our facial muscles, our facial tension. Slow and repetitive feels really nice right here. Don't be afraid to slow down. One of those traces might guide you to the ears, and you can do very soft pinching of the earlobes, little side to side pinches, traveling from the earlobes up the sides of the ears. If your partner is wearing earrings, as long as they're not recent piercings, you can just go around the earrings. Don't avoid the ears entirely unless your partner asks. This can feel really nice, a little playful right here, little tugs, little pulls. And once again, that might bring you right back to the slow circles through the scalp. And you might let those slow scalp circles eventually travel back down, right back to the base of the neck, coming back to that occipital hold as you bring the four fingers, other than the thumb, scooping up the neck to catch that occipital ridge, little gentle traction as you hold. So you're welcome to follow along with me as we blend some of those moves we just showed, or feel free to explore just on your own with your partner. Wherever you are in your head, face, neck massage, you can start traveling hands and fingers back to the back of your partner's neck. You might add a little scooping motion, hands pulling from base of the neck up towards top of the head. And you eventually let that scooping motion come right back to that occipital hold, those 4 fingers right into that divot. Maybe placing the rest of your palms around the back of your head. Be careful you're not squishing the ears. And once you're finished with any sense of traction pulling away, release that pull, but keep hold of your partner's head. This is simply a hold. Let the weight of your partner's head rest in your hands, a very, very nurturing position. Taking one more big breath right here. Very gently releasing your hands, letting your partner's head rest back on the ground, concluding the head and face massage.